you talk about ins and outs? I know James Clancy, a very high-profile defection, for want of a better word. I know it wasn't a defection, but he's left it onto Longford. But Mike Solon, there was a bit of won't he go to Mayo? He ended up back in Leitrim. He's back in the dugout with you. Any other changes? You mentioned Donny McCabe. He's back this year. Huge asset to the county as well. Any change in the medical team, or backroom team, other than those that we know about already?
Yeah, so firstly, if we start with the football side of it, we got a coach in called Luke Bree, who's Sligo originally, but would have a massive alignment with St. Vincent's club in Dublin, where he spent his last 10 years, won an All-Ireland club title with them. But he's back in Sligo, and he was common coach last year, and he became available around the same time as James left, and we met him, had really good feedback about him, and he's been a huge addition to our group so far. So we're absolutely delighted with him. Obviously, Aina Madden has come in and replaced Shane Bowen as physio. Shane has been an unbelievable servant to Leitrim in terms of the amount of work he's put in, mixing a busy family life with a busy work life, and also to do Leitrim was just an amazing effort. And listen, we were delighted to have Shane, and when Shane stepped away, Aina's come in and has been brilliant there as well. Obviously, everyone knows Aina being an international sprinter. There's not too many of them around Leitrim, and an international rugby sevens player. So he's a really high-profile addition to our group, and he's been a really good addition so far, and hopefully that kind of keeps going. And then in the sports psychology route, Kieran Shannon, who's a really good friend of mine, came in, helped us out last year. But again, work commitments, location, everything just wasn't suiting. So we had a conversation. Kieran stepped away, and Sarah Healy now is in replacing Kieran Shannon.
So know some of those names, all right, and fairly established people within their respective fields. So you've matched like with like really across the board. I suppose what most people want to know about really is who's going to be wearing the jersey next year, though. We know some people have moved on for various reasons. Most people have heard rumours at this stage, if not kind of already noticed. They've been to the goodbye parties for the likes of the McGovern lads from Ballinamore. Also, David Brown has left captain last year. He's gone to Australia for a period. Are any of these lads likely to come back later in the year, or are they gone from the reckoning? And who else maybe can you confirm at this stage isn't going to be in the Leitrim jersey next year?
Yeah, thanks for that, Breifne. I think David, probably being the captain, was probably the most high profile. David Brown, he'd applied for the visa before COVID, and to my unfortunate being in August, he informed me that it literally just pinged into his email. The visa just came to him in August, so he jumped on. He said, "I have to take that opportunity." I respected him first, but absolutely no regrets making David captain last year. When we came in, he was the guy who was the professional person around the place himself, and Donal Rinn, and they did a great job for us as captaincy. Of course, we'd love to have held on to David, but he decided to go for the year, and I just respect him for that. People need to live their lives as well, but he was a brilliant guy for us around the place in our first year. Huge physical conditioning, brilliant in the gym, and just carried everything that we needed to do. And in year one, he just did a great job for us. So no regrets on that, even though he's left. But we've no regrets on that. Then obviously on top of that, then a few other guys left. The way the county board described it to me is that we'd always have 3 a year that'd leave, but we had 3 years to cover. So a few of the guys took off. So Dean left, Oisin McCaffrey left. Conor Dolan just left the panel just because injury and bits and pieces around the thing. Obviously, Conor Cullen sustained a really bad injury. Testament to Sheelan that they did so well without him, but really bad injury during the year. So that'll probably put him out for 12 months. Kieran Cullen is going to Australia, and Aaron Hoare was supposed to be going, so we're still waiting from Aaron. So we'll see what the big man comes to it, and Benny Flynn has left the squad as well.
Okay, so there's some very big holes, and literally big holes there with some of those players. Aaron Hoare is a big man, as you mentioned. I believe he's heading stateside in the new year, but I suppose you'll wait to hear confirmation on that in due course. So we've got a couple of gaps who's going to be filling those positions?
Yeah, we're really excited too, and like what we've arranged actually with the guys that have left before I go on to the guys that have come in, is that they will hopefully, like, we'd intend that these guys will come back into the Leitrim fold. I think what happened before was when they left, they just went and left for a year and then tried to get back into it. So we're going to try to keep them on a weights program or whatever they want to run themselves, but the facility will be there for them to continue to work at the same level as a senior inter-county player. Obviously get their trip away and stuff like that. So if they opt to come back in 2024, that the fall off won't be that vast. So they got to a really high level, and we want to keep them as close to that level as we can. So that's our aim moving forward. So there's a plan even for the guys that have left. And then the guys that have come in, we're super excited about Killian Gaffey, ex-Sligo Rovers, Carrick Shannon. Not many people would know him. But a hugely talented keeper. Unfortunately, just come back from injury with his cruciate, but we've got him back on the pitch, and he hopefully will be a star for Leitrim in the future. Barry McNulty, a really exciting player. We've seen him throughout the club championship. I remember the first day I seen him, I went down to watch Ballinamore v Manor in a rearranged game down in Ballinamore, and we didn't know who this young guy was. Barry McGueen even mixed him up. My Encyclopedia Leitrim Football even mixed him up, and after a while, we quickly discovered who this guy was, and from that moment on, we've had an eye. So he'll play under 20 this year, but he'll also be part of the senior squad. He's a fresher scholarship in UCD, so a really exciting player for us. We've Radic from Drumshambo, Alan Gales, Jeremy Keller from Carrick, outstanding throughout the club championship. We've Michael McKernan from Ballinamore. We've Owen Shanley from Ballinamore, and we've Aidan Flynn from Leitrim Gales, who's since he came back into training has been a huge addition to our squad. And again, I seen him playing against Manor Hamilton, Mark and young McNulty down in the first round of the championship. You were there sitting on the sideline, and after that game, I was just like, we tried our best to get Aidan, but it just didn't work last year to get him in. But after that game, it was just so obvious that he can play at that higher level. So we went after him, and we're happy to say he's come back in. And then just two young guys were offering a time for them to kind of impress us with Stephen McLaughlin and Adam Reynolds. Them two guys are in with us now at the minute. They're training, and they're just going to try to show us what they have over the next month, and we'll make an assessment on them guys at the end of December.
In Aidan Flynn one in particular, I suppose people would have been disappointed maybe how his previous stint in the jersey ended mid-season after a game up in Antrim. It just didn't seem to work out, and he opted away. And then, of course, he got married last year. But he's probably a good example of someone who stepped away from the panel for personal reasons for a period and kept his fitness up, and now comes back in and he's impressing you. So I'm really happy to hear that that's what's happening with the lads who have gone away. Realistically, though, give them a year or two, how many of those 6 or 7 that have opted out do you see potentially being back in 2 to 3 years' time?
Well, they're all young men, really, aren't they? They're all young men. So if it was on the older echelons of the 30s, you'd say not. But most of them, they're all of the good age profile, all keep themselves in fairly good condition. Dean is a real, like, if you look at Dean, for example, real passionate Ballinamore man. We're going to see him playing club championship. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him playing club championship next summer. So, you're going to see him playing again. So once they're back in, they're all talented players. They'll all get their, they'll all stand out in club championship. So they'll all have a chance.